Welcome back to the Missoula podcast. Good to be back in studio on a Tuesday. Brandon, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm really good. What is this? Episode 62? 62?
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
No. We're rolling. We keep getting great guests and excited for today.
How you feeling about the Grizz? We're a couple weeks into the season. I know you hate that question.
Yeah, what time will tell. We'll see how they'll be here in November.
Sounds good.
Welcome our guest in today, Paige. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Excited to be here.
I'm really excited for this.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot to talk about, and I don't even really know what we're going to talk about, but it feels like a lot. You've done a lot. You've accomplished a lot.
And she's obviously a lot more intelligent than we are.
Oh, stop.
I don't know that I've ever felt
so.
like insecure at the beginning of one of our episodes. Like,
they both
Paige,
have their arms crossed.
Yeah, I'm
like, what's happening?
Paige,
We're good. We're all friends.
Okay, Paige,
It's fine.
question for you.
Okay.
How hard was the bar?
It was really hard.
Like, really, was it? Like, or is that just what attorneys say?
No, it's the hardest test I've ever taken.
Really?
Yeah. I would say, but the patent attorneys would say that the patent bar is way harder after the actual bar.
What makes it so hard? Like, I know what makes it hard, but you study and study and study in law school. But like, what about that test specifically is tricky and difficult?
Because it's every legal question that could be thrown at you from a variety of different areas of the law. So you have to learn like 15 different subjects, and then you have like 2 days to take the test. And, it's kind of a logic test as well, not as much as the LSAT, but you have to decipher a lot of, A, B, C, D, which one it is. So you have the MPRE portion of it, which is multiple choice, but then you also have an essay portion of it as well. And you never know what those essay questions are going to be. So you have to learn evidence and civil procedure and con law, and you have to kind of, you hope that the one you know the best is the one that's going to be asked. So it's just difficult.
Is it like other tests? Like once you pass, now it's, okay, forget everything you've learned. You're stepping into the real world, and now there's
basically,
situational law and just different.
1,000%. Yeah, I'm actually taking a course right now on just boosting my IP firm a little bit more. And it's all the stuff you didn't learn in law school and what they didn't teach you for the bar. It's called like 4L education because there's 3 years of law school. So they say 1L, 2L, 3L. And it's just interesting. Everyone always says, what are you going to learn after law school that's actually applicable to what you do? The bar really isn't that applicable. Just kind of gateway into the profession.
Well, take me back to your childhood. At what point were you like, I'm going to law school. I think I'm going to like this. Like, take me through that line of thinking, or what point in life was that?
Yeah, probably just a good trajectory of my whole childhood on, I didn't really know I was going to be a lawyer, but I kind of knew I was going to be a lawyer, or at least in some respect, legal, political type of profession at some point. So I did speech and debate in high school here at Sentinel in Missoula. Then I did debate in college as well. But I also like to take it back to Missoula Children's Theater and Missoula Community Theater. I was totally a theater kid growing up. And both of those put together kind of, it was a natural progression into the legal field. I think in undergrad, I was like, okay, I'm a poli-sci economics major, math minor, and just like, did everything under the sun, might as well. And I didn't know if I was going to go like professor route, an education route, or if I wanted to go to law school. And in college, I toured a bunch of different schools. I went to school out at Pacific Lutheran University in Tacoma, Washington. So left Missoula for a brief period of time, toured a bunch of law schools when I was an undergrad. And then I came back here and I toured this law school here in Missoula. And I was like, I'm coming home. This just feels like the right fit. Best decision I've ever made.
Growing up, were your parents in law? Did you have family? And
Nope.
What
None.
created that interest or that passion?
Yeah. I don't know the answer to that question. I think I created it myself, kind of very interested in the political aspect of the world. I think maybe I always thought I was going to go into politics. Didn't really know that lawyer entrepreneurship was in my future. Was thinking on the way here, though, maybe I did innately know deep down inside because I was like a lemonade stand kid, like always trying to sell things and like run a small business growing up. And then I knew I liked speech and debate, and I knew I liked politics and economics, and then came to law school and just I truly, it was like the right path that was forged for me.
Yeah. Did you have like friends in that season of life that were really into theater and into debate or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you obviously had some influences that went into that.
Mhm.
But yeah, and I just don't see a lot of young people like really liking politics that early on. So that's so interesting that it caught you, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, I did all of those extracurricular like mock trial and
It's so fun.
model UN in high school.
Mhm.
So that was kind of the culmination of it there. I kind of feel like everything really started out in high school here at Sentinel. I had some really good mentors. My speech and debate coach at Sentinel was one of them. And yeah, once I got to college is when I was like, okay, I really like debate here. This is like on a whole other level. Even we went to nationals, we went to worlds. And then by the time junior, senior year of college rolled around, I was like, hey, what's the next step? I'm not done with school yet. And I don't know PhD or do I want to go to law school? And it kind of chose me. I love the law, but I also love running a business. So it's fun that it all kind of has come together now in my young 30s.
So you don't run a traditional law firm. When people hear like you're in law and run a business, they're thinking traditional law firm.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your business model and what has made it so unique and successful.
Yeah. So let me just take you back to kind of when it started, because that's important here in the storyline of why did I build the Legal Paige is the business we're probably going to talk about a little bit more. But I also have a law firm as well. So two very separate entities, but kind of sister businesses as well, because we get a lot of clients from the Legal Paige. I was a photographer in law school. So if law school wasn't challenging enough as it is, I was actually just bored of like reading and writing the law all day long. Not bored, but I just needed a creative outlet. I needed something other than writing and reading all day long. So I reached out to my friend Brian Powers. I'll never forget it. And I just said, like, what camera do I need? And he told me the camera and was like, get a nifty 50. And from there, I got to really work on the creative side of my brain. I think that comes from my lemonade stand life and my passion for arts and crafts and theater. I don't know. I really, really love photography, and I loved the art of building my photography business. And so I did that in law school and kind of built a decently successful business here in Western Montana, shot a lot of weddings, did a lot of family photo shoots. And then I went and worked for a federal judge here in town, Judge Christensen. And it was a good transition period for me for a couple of years out of law school, where I was kind of on this train that I felt like I couldn't get off of like academia. It was kind of my whole life. And partnership, partnership track, going into a traditional law firm. But I was building this photography business on the side, and I just really, really loved it, which was beautiful, because if I wouldn't have had that, my life would have been a lot different sitting here today. And I'll just never forget, I say this a lot on podcasts, this pivotal moment in my life journey. Judge Christensen sat down with me when I was going to interview for a few firms. The transition, my clerkship was going to be over soon, and I needed to decide what was next. And he sits down with me and just says, Paige, I think you're going to do something different with your law degree. It was like this permission slip that I didn't think I needed, but I really, really needed.
Coming from a federal judge, it's like validating, like, this is the direction I'm supposed to go. Yeah.
He knew I just loved photography. He knew that I was really passionate during that period of time. I think it was those 2 to 3 years from about 2015 to 2018. I got to really know the wedding and event industry. I was a part of it. I was talking with vendors at weddings. I went to a lot of conferences for photography, just trying to build upon my photography education and building the business as a whole. Had an associate program, had some, employees here in Missoula as well. So I just really, really loved building a business at that time and meeting people and being, a part of their family memories. And he just kind of knew. He was like, I think you need to run in that direction a little bit. And I knew that the wedding and event industry and all of those professionals, the service-based business owners that are there, think every vendor that you meet at a wedding or that is a part of a wedding. They all run their own businesses.
Right.
They all have contracts.
Mhm.
They all are trying to figure out the legal side of running their business. And I went to conferences and events and I was like, they don't know what they're doing. I think they need help, but they don't know where to find the help. They didn't know what to look for. They didn't know what they didn't know. So I just kind of found this niche and started a blog. The Legal Paige blog is what started everything. And then I realized, okay, these people need contract templates, very, very specific to what they do and the services that they provide to people. Definitely honed in on the photography industry as a whole, because that's what I knew and was living every single day. So had a bunch of photography contracts available for people to purchase and had a blog. And then I started a podcast and a YouTube channel, and now it's a little bit bigger. So that's the Legal Paige as a whole. We're a legal education platform.
Okay.
For free. We have lots of free legal resources for creative small business owners. Think entrepreneurs that are running their business out of their house, but primarily servicing at some point one-on-one with clients. And
So that's a lemonade stand for you.
That's a
today.
lemonade
That's
stand.
the creative outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so fun. I literally love what I do every single day. Answering Instagram DMs and our Facebook group questions and the shop inbox and pointing people in the right direction and just helping them figure out, okay, this is what I need to get the legal part of my business squared away. Now I can move on to what I actually love and what I'm actually passionate about, because that always scares people. It's hard. Wearing that hat in your business.
Take me back to like getting the photography business going. Like, what were some of the biggest challenges of attracting clients, getting your name out? Because it feels like to me it's sort of a saturated market.
Yeah.
How on earth were you able to build a business in the midst of like going to school as well? Like, how did you learn how to do that?
Networking is basically one of my favorite skill sets that I have.
Okay.
You just kind of, you start out with talking with friends and family and being like, do you need photos? Can I take photos? I mean, you cringe when you look back at those photo sessions, but they're the beginning of like what actually happened, and the business and the niche and the, style of photography that I did as well. Kind of finding my way. At the beginning, you're just trying to find clients and show up on social media like, I have a business. Here's some photo shoots that I've taken.
Look professional.
Look professional. Are you interested? So lots of family and friends at the beginning. I'm from Missoula, so went to school here, knew a lot of people here. So when I came back from law school, I was like, okay, maybe I can work with that a little bit, figure out who might be interested, and mainly did family photo shoots to start. And then it's just kind of like that one person that's like, hey, would you be interested in shooting my wedding? And you're like, oh gosh, that's a tall order. That's a lot of pressure. But sure, let's try it. And once I went to that one wedding, I'll never forget it. And I was like, I'm in. I am all in. This is so fun. And loved wedding days, loved giving people those memories that are going to last them their entire life, something they can look back on. And so, yeah, that was kind of the beginning of it.
Rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
Want to go there?
Yeah. Perfect.
All right, Paige.
Let's do it, Paige.
Ready for this?
We're amped up.
Okay.
Go ahead,
This will be a little bit easier than the bar exam. Promise.
We'll see.
Promise. What is your first earliest initial memory of Missoula, Montana? First earliest initial. That's repetitive and redundant.
Great English.
Thank you. What's your first memory of Missoula?
I think like riding my bike down Linda Vista Boulevard with my brother. When we moved, I was born in Portland, Oregon. Actually, my parents are from Great Falls, and my dad got a job out there. So my brother and I were born out there, but we quickly moved back by kindergarten and first grade. So I don't really remember a whole lot out in Oregon, but I vividly remember my childhood with my brother here in Missoula. And he was 18 months older than me, and I just was his little sidekick. And I don't know, he would say he's my sidekick, and I made him do all the stuff. But bike riding, he was always in front. And yeah, that's the memory. So it's fun when I like get to go up there now to the Linda Vista area and be like, oh man, how much this has changed over there from my childhood memories. Yeah.
What's your go-to coffee shop in Missoula?
Probably Drum Coffee. Yeah, it's just delicious, and it's by my house, so we can walk there. I'm also really into Canby right now. Their coffee is really good, and it's also in walking distance from my house. So anything that I can go with my kids, get a cup of coffee, make it a whole adventure and a trip, kill an hour, give something for my kids to do.
How about restaurant? Favorite restaurant in Missoula?
Well, they all have closed lately, which is really sad. My favorite restaurant was Cafe Dolce.
Rest in peace.
I know. It's so sad. And then all these ones that keep popping up on the news, I'm like, no, not another closure. And I send the message to my friend Lauren, who we've been best friends since 6th grade. And so we always have to like go try out one more time, like make sure that we're fulfilling that memory. The Catalyst was another one. I'm like, rest in peace. So now, gosh, where do I love going? I mean, Catalyst to go is pretty good. If you guys haven't tried it out, it's nice to still get those, that casserole, potato casserole. I don't know. I guess I'm really stuck on the ones that aren't here anymore.
That's awesome.
Sorry, that's my answer. Yeah. Come back, Cafe Dolce. Floribel is a great little spot though. It's fun to go for good pasta.
Still a good spot.
Yeah, I think I just really like that spot. If you can't tell, that's my little like zone right now in Missoula. I'm naming all those businesses.
They have to be like in walking distance. I've learned this about you.
I think
walking distance or closed. Yeah. Like that's.
I think I already know the answer to this, but what zip code do you live in?
59801.
Yeah.
What do you love the most about Missoula?
The family environment, family friendly environment, outdoor recreation. Everyone's always outdoors every single day, I would say. And just the kindness that everybody has. Yeah. I mean, I decided to like come back here and raise my family here, and that really says something about the town. Yeah.
What to use one of the weirdest things about Missoula?
A lot of Birkenstocks, a lot of socks with Birkenstocks. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you own Birkenstocks?
I do.
Do you wear socks? Are you a sock and Birkenstock?
I'm not a sock person, but the Birks are the go-to every single summer. Like I have I have all kinds of shoes to choose from, but I only choose the Birks. Why is that?
Russet, you have Birks?
It's a Missoula thing.
I don't.
Oh, I don't either.
I've never. Out as a Dylan guy, I can't do it.
What's yours? Keens, Chacos? I mean, Chacos and Birks, right?
I have a pair of Tevas.
Oh, Tevas. Yeah. I mean, Teva, Chaco, Birks. Like, you're going to have one of those foot tan lines in Missoula. That's probably the weirdest thing about Missoula.
What about
like,
Crocs?
Well, Crocs are making a comeback for sure. Yeah.
I have Crocs.
You do?
I just want to be included.
My kids have Crocs. There you go.
I want to fit in the conversation, guys.
You're in it. We can move Crocs into that list.
Has there been a specific book that has made an impact on your life more than any of the others?
I really like The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. It's a good book about, going to Alaska and like finding yourself and doing, I don't know, life a different way, becoming who you are. It's a really great book. Read it, I think in like college. Mm-hmm.
You had time to do some outside reading in college?
Well, yeah. You had a lot of time in college to do a lot of things. If you look back on it now, the amount of time that I had in college, my husband and I were like, what did we do with all that time? Yeah, now time management is my best friend. So yeah, I had lots of time to read for fun and pleasure. That's nice. Now I'm like, when does that occur? I don't know. It's like audiobooks now.
Yeah, seriously.
Does that count as reading?
I think so.
You think so?
I agree.
Sure.
It does the same thing to your brain, I've heard, as actual reading.
Oh, good to know. Yeah, send me that article.
Okay, there you go. I came up with that. Okay. I'm just kidding. No, I heard it once. Before we jump into a little bit more about what you're doing, I am fascinated about time management. So is there any specific like apps you use or techniques or specific things that have because you have a lot going on.
I do.
What do you do to handle all of your life?
Batch everything.
Okay.
Batching is the be all end all of my life, because if, for example, this Wednesday, it's like I'm batching 5 podcast recordings and YouTube episodes. I have to do it all in one so that I can then have a month and a half to just manage the businesses, be the, lead attorney in these businesses, work with my team day in and day out remotely. We're on Slack and Voxer and, Monday.com and just doing all of the things. So the day-to-day grind is a little different than like the content creation grind. So really compartmentalizing and separating those, and time management has been taken to a whole new level now that I'm a mom. And I feel like having my kids are almost 3 and 8 months. And when I had my 3-year-old, it was like a whole new adventure of, oh, you think you have a lot of time. Now you don't, right? It's like mom, work, go back to mom mode, sleep, wake up, do it again. And being really present with my kids is super important, especially as a working mom and someone who runs a lot of businesses. So I'm really, really busy during the day. So I like to batch. That will help me get all of the necessities done that I need to get done. And then delegation is also really important for time management. So focusing in on the jobs that only I need to do and not micromanaging, not doing those, the jobs that the rest of my team can do. That's why we hired them. Just letting them run free and get the job done and having, management structure in place for me not being the go-to to ask questions to. We have people that are the managing, people of the business. So, yeah.
Earlier we talked about the Legal Paige, the creative outlet for you and what that's done. You also have the law firm.
Yeah.
What do you practice? What do you specialize in? What's that look like?
Yeah. So I specialize in intellectual property law, so trademarks and copyrights, and that aligns really well with the creative business ownership of the U.S. and the market that we serve at the Legal Paige. So because the Legal Paige only sells contract templates, that's the only thing we do. They can get their contracts there. They can get a lot of good legal information on how to set up their business the right way, kind of what are the steps that you need to do. Boom, get your client contract in place, maybe your website terms and conditions. And then as their business grows or expands, or they have new offerings, or they really hone in on their brand, then they start realizing, okay, I probably have some IP that I might need to protect. And the Legal Paige couldn't help them with that because I'm not doing one-on-one client work there. So kind of a, natural sister business relationship where I was like, okay, the law firm is going to be over here in this other bubble. It's Griffith Law. I'm actually bringing on a partner, which I'm really excited about now, who has worked with me in the Legal Paige for the past few years. And now she's going to help me run the law firm and take on a lot more clients. So I don't take on very many clients. I'm not like a full-time IP lawyer. I just don't have time, but it's still really great to keep my hand in the cookie jar, to know what's going on in the trademark. So that's brand protection world. And then copyright world, because I work with a lot of photographers and creative business owners who do have a lot of copyright IP. So helping them get registered as well. That's all I do though. The law firms just is very straightforward, simple IP practice.
So Paige, you mentioned a couple times in there, you want to make sure entrepreneurs are setting up their business the right way.
Yeah.
We have a lot of young entrepreneurs and even tenured entrepreneurs who listen to the podcast and love to give advice to them, like looking back and starting, like what would they do? What did you learn from the early years that you wish you could go back and tell yourself, or some advice you would give to a young entrepreneur? If we have a young entrepreneur listening, what are a couple strategies, tactics that they can use to make sure their business is set up correctly, that they are legally ready to move forward and operate that business? Do you have 2 or 3 strategies, ideas?
Yeah. The first thing is deciding the structure of your business and what do you want it to be. It's really twofold. You have 2 options here. Don't make it more complicated than it is. You are by default a sole proprietorship. So an arm and extension of yourself. You're basically like running a business on the side, getting going through your social security number, which is fine. Then you can just like file your taxes and whatever profit you made in this side hustle business. And being a sole proprietorship is okay legally. Like it's not the end of the world. And I think everyone says you need to move to a limited liability company, LLC. You have to do that. Legally, yes, it's a better option, but for the most part, unless you have a lot of clientele, you're, bringing in actual kind of more part-time income, I don't necessarily think that it's just this big to-do for people, and they're really worried about becoming an LLC. But there's a transition.
So how do you guide people through that? Like, what's the conversation to decide which route you need to take?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have, if you have assets, like personal assets that you're really worried about and you want to separate the business from your person, then an LLC makes the most sense. Here in Montana, it's really simple to become an LLC. It's really inexpensive to become an LLC. You just go to the Secretary of State's website. It's about $70, and then you file like an annual reporting, fee
It's like
every single year,
$20 or something
$20.
a year.
Yeah, 20, 30. So very inexpensive. And I like to think about it as the best insurance you can get for your business, because you're truly separating your risks and liabilities of the business from your personal assets. But a lot of people just don't have a lot of risks and liabilities when they're first starting out. And I think that there's this misnomer from attorneys and CPAs that are always saying, like, you have to become an LLC, you have to become an LLC. It's great because you are separating them, but it's, around $5,000, $10,000. There's no bright line rule. It depends. I'm such a lawyer, like gray area. It depends on every business, and the clients that you're serving, but you'll know. And if I can give that advice to anyone, like, you'll know at the point at which, okay, I'm doing this, I have clients, my risk meter is going up a little bit. Becoming an LLC makes a lot of sense. So that's step one, just figuring out your business structure. I'm not even going to go into S Corp land because everyone always brings that in, and like, just don't even think about that when you're first starting out. Not really necessary. That's like 1, 2, 3, 4+ years in. And then once you get that squared away, lots of people, will transition and become an LLC. So they're like, cool, I got registered in my state. I'm now a professional business. There's kind of that level of, I'm legit. Like, I'm starting to become a business.
Sure.
At that same time, though, I don't want you to forget about contracts. And I think contracts are like be all, end all. They should come before, getting set up the right way, because you're going to book clients no matter what if you're a sole proprietorship or an LLC. And having a solid client contract is basically the best thing you can do for your business, because you're going to use it time and time and time again on every single client. So unlike the shiny things, website design is great, and social media marketing and getting your Instagram set up and, your TikTok or whatever you're, wherever you're marketing. That's important. And those shiny things they're necessary from a marketing standpoint. But it's constant creation and constant, getting new clients. When you get those clients, you have to send them something and you have to book them. And if you send them a really good, professional, legitimate contract, they're going to be like, okay, this person has their shiz together. Cool. Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to book you, and I'm ready to pay your retainer. And that's all business owners truly care about. Creative business owners and service-based providers is initial discovery call, gel with this client. Do we vibe well? Do we want to work together? And if we do, we got to get booked and we got to get on my calendar. Yeah. So you're going to send a contract. You're going to send an invoice. And that's like the main thing that I tell people is really important. And from there, you'll just learn all kinds of other things in your business journey, right? Like yucky client situations. I like to call them sticky client situations. And you just learn from them and you grow from them. And then the legal stuff is just a part of business. It's a part of every day that we all have to think about. Yeah.
What's a common misconception in your world that some people might believe that you have to like combat each and every day?
Ooh, that's a good one. That you need to hire a lawyer to help you get going. And I don't mean this in a bad way from the legal profession, but it's really scary for people. I think wearing that chief legal officer hat is what I like to call it as an entrepreneur, right? You're wearing all of the hats. You got your bookkeeper hat on, now you got your marketing hat on, now you got your operations hat on, and then like, oh shiz, I forgot about, I need to like get my contracts in place and get squared away on the back end. And it's terrifying for people to be like, what attorney do I go to? Who do I go to? Who do I talk to about this kind of stuff? And in our space and the people that we serve, I just want to make that more approachable and easy to understand. Let's cut through the noise and just get to the most important things that you need to do for your business. So I would say that's a big misunderstanding is you have to hire help at really expensive rates to get your business set up the right way. And it's not necessary. Like you're just starting your own business, and it's kind of like it's a learning process as you go. So it's okay if you don't do things right at the beginning. You can pick up the pieces now and get started, on a better way moving forward.
That was a big right there. I had a question and then I lost it. It sounds like you're really passionate about helping service contractors. Why do you think this is so fulfilling to you? What brings you the most joy in this?
A lot of these people have always wanted to run their own businesses. A lot of them are leaving W-2 jobs in the corporate world that they weren't necessarily enjoying and felt like it was a little soul sucking. And now they're bringing to life something they're really passionate about and something they've always really wanted to do. And I want to make that easy for them. I want to get the legal stuff figured out and help them throughout the process as well. They buy one contract from us. And then from there, we're just consistently giving them a multitude of legal education, every week, and they can listen to various things and they can get their questions answered. Like our Facebook group is an open concept Facebook group where business owners are asking questions every single day. And myself and my legal team are the ones responding, as well as thousands of other business owners that have kind of gone through the same thing. So I just want to make it a community aspect that you can get the answers to your legal questions easy. You don't have to go down rabbit holes online. You don't have to talk to an attorney that doesn't really know what you're doing and running social media marketing. And that's going to change here, I would say, in the next 10 to 20 years. But, 5-10 years ago, you were still talking, if you went to a small business attorney, they're at a law firm and they're like, wait, what do you do? Like, how are you running your business? You're doing what online? You're booking how many clients? And it's hard for them to conceptualize what that business actually looks like on the back end. And so from my perspective and my experience, I think it's helpful to people. They feel like they can approach me and I can answer their questions quickly, and then they can move on and work on the stuff that they actually care about.
I'm a piggyback on that question. You're busy, you're slammed, you have a team, multiple businesses, young kids. Why do you keep doing what you're doing? Like what is it that drives you every day to get up and keep doing all that you're doing?
I feel like I'm helping people.
Yeah.
Like there's just, this morning, it's like I answered 3 Instagram DMs and people just had questions or they needed me to point them in the right direction of what they needed. And they can just tell me their business and I truly know what they need. And then they're just like, thank you. Again, it's just when you go into the legal profession, you have a heart for serving people and you have a heart for helping people, no matter what area of law you're in. And so just small business, contract law, and IP law is my jam. And
I'd imagine that's really fulfilling. Like when you hit send on that DM and know that you've pointed them the right direction, given them the answers they're looking for.
Totally. And they respond back in that respect too. So getting those, validations from people, it just really helps me fuel every single day. And I think all of my employees and contractors in both businesses feel that same way too. Like we're really helping people fulfill their life passions as well and get out of, just do a job that they really love and adore.
Do you get any pushback or questions from others in the legal industry of like, Paige, what are you doing? This isn't cookie cutter. This isn't how we operate.
Totally.
Yeah.
Prior to 2020, I definitely did. Okay. It was a wild west online. There was like me and a few other virtual lawyers. I'm like a handful, maybe 10 max, maybe 20 in the specific space that I'm in. 2020 hit though, and the whole legal profession had to go online all at the same time. And I just always think that that's a silver lining to a lot of things that happened during the pandemic is there is beauty that came from it. And now the legal world is like, okay, like let's get out of our archaic, brick and mortar business world. There's so many attorneys now that work remotely because you can do everything remotely. And a lot of people are, seeing that there's a different side of the law and different people that you can serve. Either running your own practice now is a lot easier online, or working for a firm online is different as well. But it was the Wild West. Now there's a lot more people that do this. So,
anything that we missed that you're excited about or passionate about coming up in the future that you want to share with our audience, or maybe any encouragement that we didn't cover?
Yeah, I would say school is really important. This is an interesting, I'm like, where am I going to go with this? Maybe I should start over.
I liked it.
All right, let's keep going with it. You guys will all like this on the podcast. You're like, where's Paige's brain going? I always thought like academia was kind of the way for me, the path for me. And it was, but it wasn't the destination. It's still the journey for me. And I'm not just a lawyer. I wasn't like just a photographer. I'm not just an entrepreneur running businesses. Like I feel like at some point, you know, my path is going to change again in my 40s and 50s and 60s. And I want it to. I don't want to do one thing forever. I want to like just continue being a serial entrepreneur and doing things. So while school is important, I think it teaches you a lot. And I mean, I have such fond memories of academia, not only from college, but from law school as well. Sometimes it's not like you have to do that just because you got that degree or just because this is what someone tells you is the right path may not be the right path for you. And you can forge your own path and you can do your own thing. You don't have to do one thing forever. That's a really weird
I like that
answer, but it's truly how I feel right now as well. It's like I'm in a transition period of, okay, I hustled really hard. I built some businesses, but now I'm kind of my kids are really young. I'm also in mom mode, and that's really important to me. And I think that's going to change when they go to school, and that's going to be a transition period as well. And am I still going to be doing this? Probably. I might be doing something else as well, or bringing in another, business to the mix. Might as well.
as long as you batch it well enough.
As long as I batch, I'm good to go.
If someone wants to find your content, where do you direct them?
Yeah, the Legal Paige, Paige. So it's a play on words with my name. Wink, wink.
Brilliant.
Smart, and trademarked it right away. Thanks.
Did you hire an attorney for that?
Nope, did it myself. You guys can hire me too if you are interested in trademarking your name. So yeah, the Legal Paige on Instagram is probably the best place for people to find me. I do lots of tips and tricks on there, but you kind of get a glimpse behind the scenes of what my life is really like on stories. I share a lot of that. And the legalpaige.com is where all of our education is housed and all of our contract templates are housed. And then you can just reach out to us and we can point you in the right direction if you need like one-on-one help. We have lots of referrals, or I can work with you with Griffith Law as well. Yeah. That's where you find me. I actually am not a photographer anymore. I didn't get to say that. I'm a retired photographer, so I don't have anywhere to direct you for my photography. But I just shoot now for fun. Okay. It's really nice to have it as a hobby again, just to do family and friends and old clients and not have it as an actual business. Kidding. I had to make a decision which one I was going to do, and I went the route with the Legal Paige. So, yeah.
Well, that's my final question. Going back to your photography, obviously you worked a lot of weddings. And so what was your least favorite pose that you had to get the people into?
Oh, man.
And what was your favorite? And then here's my third question. What was the song that the DJ put on that you couldn't help but dance while you were taking pictures?
Oh, my gosh. Okay. We'll start with the former. The poses that are the hardest and most challenging are wedding party photos and family photos, for the simple fact that there's a lot of people in them. And I feel like every client kind of wants something different. Let me start with like wedding party photos. It kind of depends on the vibe of the wedding party and like how intoxicated lots of people are. So by that point in time, and it's less of an issue usually before the wedding if people are, doing a first look, and then you can get all of those out. We've all been at weddings.
Oh,
clearly,
yeah.
We all know we're nodding in agreement.
I'm putting myself in your shoes thinking about,
that would be so frustrating.
It's not frustrating. It's just kind of like wrangling a lot of people and trying to do the best job for your clients, right? Like they really want those photos and it's really important to them. They have the most important people by their sides. They want those photos. They're going to look back on them. I actually think the individual photos is the ones that people look back on the most. If you think about it, like no one's posting the full wedding party photos. Right. They're just like, hey, it's my best friend's birthday. And they're posting the one of just the groom and his best friend kind of thing. Yep. So those ones are easier. That's hard. And then family photos are like a whole different level because it's usually after the wedding ceremony. And then you're wrangling even more people. But those family photos, I mean, are treasures. There's so many of those that if you don't get, it's not gonna go well because like that might be the last time somebody was at a family event
Right.
in the last photo that they have of them. So it's really important to me to get those. But sometimes those lists are very long from the clients. So yeah, you just rapid fire through those. And then you get the candid fun ones on the dance floor. So the latter question that you have is, I was in like Cupid Shuffle land back in the day, right? Not that I like loved it.
But you can't help it.
But you can't help it. Moni Moni, is that?
Yeah.
That one I cannot help but dance. And that is due to my parents. They have this like dance that they do and they always did. So when I was growing up, that was their song. And so I think very fondly of my parents when that song comes on and I like try to, by myself with my camera, like dance with them. Anyway, as I'm taking photos candidly on the dance floor. I clearly miss weddings, man. Anyone need a second shooter? Like hit me up. Maybe I'll go and
it is wedding season.
fill my fuel. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We really enjoyed this. Thank you for what you're doing in this community. You've got a lot of irons in the fire, but you're handling it well.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for
Awesome.
having me.
Thanks,
guys.
Paige.
Mhm.
What's up, Missoula? This is Nick Balla, producer of the Missoula podcast. We truly appreciate you hanging out with us as we dive into the stories that make our city special. If you could do us a quick favor and follow the show wherever you are listening, whether that's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, maybe you're watching on YouTube, so hit that little subscribe button. It really helps us out. Head on over to www.themissoulapodcast.com for more information, and we'll see you next week.